name is Agisanang Magooa, and I am currently doing the 2-year part-time program, MDPP program. And my experience at the school has been nothing short of amazing. And I promise you that I have not been paid to say this. I truly mean it. It has changed my life and reignited the passion that I've always had in being part of solutions that drive African development and being part of discourse that is around regional integration. The course has pushed me in many ways. It has pushed me to question everything I know, to ask questions all the time. I know it sounds simple, but we take the influences and paradigms, our own paradigms, and how we implement things so lightly, and it's quite informed. Our paradigms are informed by these beliefs that push how we implement things. So we unpack those kinds of things in the class, and it brings me to the next point of understanding historical context. The class and the school and the lecturers are very big on understanding historical context, as they fundamentally have a huge role in how we do things, the types of leadership styles, how might we integrate or interrogate the implementation based on these things, and not think in silos and see these different elements as we think through policy implementation and policies. The school has also quite pushed me to not only identify the gap between policy formulation and policy implementation. It's good and well that you identify it. It also wants you to ask yourself, then what? In your space, what are you going to do about this gap, to think innovatively and creatively and relevantly as to what do you do with this gap that you've identified, this problem that you have. What I do love as well is that the school does this in a multidisciplinary fashion. It goes past thinking that economics alone is important, politics alone is important. All these things are important, but they are intertwined. And how the lectures are delivered, you can feel that you start always from a philosophical, historical context and understanding what are the founding ideologies of what we're trying to understand, and then we move forward in unpacking the problems. I chose the MDPP because I wanted something applied. I didn't want to be drowning in a pool of theories and readings where afterwards I am stuck with all this knowledge but not know how to apply it. So you'll find that all the tools that we are given and taught, you will constantly be using them and speaking about them in conversation in class. You'll be applying them in assignments, and the tools will inevitably be used in your workplace because you're always thinking about them as you traverse your workspaces and your assignments simultaneously. But just to close, key takeaways. If you're going to do part-time, don't be fooled by seeing the word part-time. I was fooled by that, thinking that there are spaces in between to have a breather. That's not the case. You're always thinking about the assignments and the readings, because the way it's done is that it feels like mini research projects, and you're always engaging the material. So just be prepared to manage your life and time accordingly. But another point is that you should remember your why, because the program can get a bit grueling, demanding, at times, and I'm an advocate for the program, but I can also say that it's quite challenging and demanding, but it is rewarding when you remember your why during these tough times. Thirdly, second last, is that the school has lecturers that are very, very passionate about the work that they do. They bring the theory and the experiences from all these multinational organizations in the class. You don't need to travel to all these universities around the world. It feels as if the world comes to you in the class. They understand African problems, and they are driven and strive to guide you through solutions that are applicable to the African context. And then lastly is that the classroom atmosphere is so encouraging and so different, because all these countries are in one space. People from all these countries are from the continent. different sectors, which brings a different dimension to how we learn and engage. I hope that was helpful. Thank you, Mr.
Very, very helpful. Thank you so much, Agisanang, and thank you for both an optimistic but also pragmatic feedback on the reality of being a student at the school. And I think it's very important what Agisanang has said, that know your why, even when you're applying, because the timing of your application, knowing that you've devoted time and energy into your decision is very important.